thought if we could do something that could bring back the dire wolf, also help wolf conservation and bring people from like sci-fi, fantasy, and kids more into science and into the conversation around conservation, we thought it was a cool idea, but we had no idea if we could pull it off.
Is there dead dire wolves that were trapped in permafrost, or is
No, most of the dire wolf skulls out there, there's thousands of them in La Brea tar pits. So if you go there, they have this beautiful wall, but because of heat and acidification, there isn't anything that's protected. Like there's nothing you can get from that. But about 6 years ago, a group, including Beth Shapiro, our chief science officer, sequenced a tooth that was found in a cave, just a single tooth, right? And in that tooth, they actually found they actually got 0.15x or coverage of the genome. So they got about 15% of the genome. But that's not really enough. You need to get up to about 10x, meaning that you can read the entire genome about 10 different times so that even if there are gaps, you understand enough of the core kind of coding regions that you could bring back that animal. Or
is this done by AI?
It's done by AI and software, yeah. Mm-hmm. So we built, part of our business model is building technologies to solve these really complicated problems. They're much harder to solve than just solving them for existing species. Open sourcing that for conservation for free, but then also taking those technologies that we can monetize for humans and spinning them out. So our first computational analysis company was called Form Bio, and we actually spun it out of the business.
So you have this tooth, you have 1.5.
Yeah, 0.5, so 15% of the genome.
Okay.
And so I went to Beth, who was only an advisor at the time, and said, could you resample the tooth? And she's like, it's like, half an inch long. She's like, it's destructive sampling. Like it's going to ruin it. I was like, well, could we scour the other museums and see if it's even possible? So we lucked out, and that tooth's 13,000 years old. The skull itself is 73,000 years old. Not exactly sure. But it was found in a riverbed. And it wasn't found in a riverbed at the mouth of a cave. So it wasn't found like in the permafrost, but it also wasn't found in like heat and acidification. So there's a bone in all of us called the petrous bone, which is insanely dense, and it doesn't change a lot from after you're born. It's a great DNA storage, better than teeth, better than anything. It's like in the inner ear kind of head area. And so we got permission from the museum to very carefully drill into the underside of the skull and remove the petrous bone to see if we could get DNA. And we got really lucky. Between resampling the first and the skull, we ended up getting about 13 to 14x coverage. So that's more than we needed to potentially bring back the dire wolves.
And then what'd you do?
Well, and then we got a knock on the door, and it was no. So we took that DNA.
Can I ask you before we even start with this?
Yeah.
The aggressive reporters is it you're playing God? How do you have the right to do this?